Alright, so what is up guys? Another thing I want to talk to you about today is Max Pacioretty being on the block. Marc Bergevin publicly said that he was not going to resign Pacioretty and that his intention was to trade him very soon, because I guess every day that goes by kind of drops a bit of value, even though I think it will be not a sign and trade type of deal, but it will be a trade accepted upon the team, of course, giving him a 6-7 year extension type of trade. So in this video I want to talk about what can we expect in terms of return for a guy like Max Pacioretty, who is top 10 in goals for the past 5-6 years. And even though you can like him, you can hate him, Pacioretty is a natural goal scorer and never had the opportunity to play with a great playmaker, a true #1 center. Yes, he played with David Desharnais, which was, you know, a good playmaker, but he was no first-line established center because we've never had those in Montreal. So in terms of destination, first off, I think if Marc Bergevin does trade a guy like Pacioretty, it will be somewhere west. San Jose, the LA Kings, a team that's trying to compete now within the next few years, especially considering LA's situation. They're still in the prime spot to compete for a cup, but not for too much longer because Doughty, Quake, Kopitar, their core is not getting any younger. They're still very good, don't get me wrong, but it would make sense for him to trade him to either, I think the LA Kings would make sense, the Sharks would make sense, the Dallas Star would make sense. I think it's just going to be one of this team in the West that has a window to compete right now and could definitely use, I feel like every team could use a Max Pacioretty. There's also a lot of rumors for him going to Florida. That's going to be a bit harder, I think, just because I don't know if Marc Bergevin will trade within his division. Now, he did Sergachev against Durant with Tampa, so again, I could be very wrong on this. Oh, and by the way, guys, feel free to post at any time in the comment section down below. Where do you think it will end up, and just overall, what do you think Montreal can expect as far as a return is concerned? And if you like the video, drop a like, and if this is the first time on our channel, make sure you consider subscribing down below. So yeah, to get back to Max Pacioretty, I think it would make sense for one of those teams to acquire him, a team that's window to compete is now. If I'm Marc Bergevin, I'm trying to ask for a decent prospect and a first-round pick at the very least. I don't necessarily think asking for NHL-ready player is what we need. I'm one of those guys that thinks that, especially with Weber injury and everything, I know we have price, but the fact is we don't have the core pieces to compete just yet. So just to go back to the LA Kings, for instance, like a guy like Verardi and a pick would make sense, and I would approve this trade at 100%. That's the type of trade I'm expecting from Marc Bergevin, but again, he's such a wild card that I could trade Max Pacioretty 1v1 against Dustin Brown for some reason, so let's see what happens there. So this is my quick update on what I think we can expect as far as the return is concerned for Max Pacioretty. Well, I'm not a fan of Max Pacioretty, so I don't mind, of course, that we trade this guy. I don't think he's the right captain for the Montreal Canadiens as well. I think that's Gallagher's style by far. He was the only one that actually showed up every night this year. So I think it would be a fresh start for the Montreal Canadiens to start under a new captain as well. Now, did they make the change right away? I think they don't waste any time making that call as well. I think a fresh start for Max Pacioretty would be good as well for him, because he's a great natural goal scorer. His shot is great. I think he could work on his skating abilities a bit, just his consistency, to be honest, because sometimes it's going to look great, sometimes it's going to look a bit rubbish, and overall just the fact that he can, you know, fight into those corners and just be overall more kind of involved in the play, if you know what I mean. So I think it would be great for him to have a fresh start playing with a natural playmaker, like a guy like Kopitar or Logan Couture maybe, would make a lot of sense, and I think it would be happy, of course, if he's traded so he can have an opportunity to compete. So I would expect a Max Pacioretty trade in the coming days, weeks. Now, this could very well unfold only at the beginning of the season. I don't think, because of his $4.5 million cap hit, I don't think it's going to be a three-team trade like we saw for Matt Duchene. I think a 1v1 makes a lot of sense in terms of teams, not players, don't get me wrong. So let's hopefully can get that done in the next few days or next few weeks. I just want to make sure that he get, you know, full value for Max Pacioretty, because like we saw for John Tavares, don't get me wrong, Pacioretty is not at the level of John Tavares, but you don't want to lose a player that wants to go away for nothing, especially not when you're trying to do a rebuild. I'm pretty sure the Islanders, if they had to do it over again, they would probably trade Tavares at the deadline to get some sort of return, but I guess you never fully know. So it makes sense for the Montreal to trade Pacioretty. Now, will the team be able to get a discount because it was kind of publicly announced that he was not going to be back with the Montreal Canadiens? That's also something to consider as well. So let's just see how this folds out in the next few days, weeks, maybe even months. But I think it's a smart decision for the Montreal Canadiens to trade Pacioretty. and just a smart acquisition for any team that wants to compete, because he's definitely, that can post around 35 goals and 65 points for sure. He was very consistent in his career. Last year, like the whole Montreal Canadiens organization was kind of a flop. So thank you guys so much for watching again. You have an amazing day. Make sure you like this video if you did, and drop a comment on where you think Pacioretty will end up. You guys have an amazing day, and I'll see you guys later.